Hey guys, so in this video we're going to talk about all the changes in Season X and how we can adapt to the meta for some easy victory royales. I'm going to try my hardest not to complain too much, as I think most of you guys saw everyone in the community crying and whining on Twitter already. I'm just going to focus on how we can play around everything new, no matter how stupid or overpowered it may be. Before we start, I'll throw some timestamps up in case you want to skip around, but there was a decent amount of changes, so definitely watch the whole thing through if you're struggling. Now, a lot of you guys might be confused and wondering what I meant before when I said that everyone was complaining on Twitter. To help you guys understand, let's first start by looking at the Season X patch notes to see exactly what Epic did. The first and biggest change you'll notice are the brutes. Brutes are the name for the giant Titanfall-like robots or mechs that are now in the game. They are two-person vehicles where one seat controls movement and the other seat controls the missile and shotgun shots. At the beginning of each game, 3 brutes spawn at random locations on the map, and then more will spawn towards the end of the game. They're basically like mini meteors that crash into the ground, and then you can just run up to it and hop in. From the driver's seat, you can dash forward and break through just about anything. You can jump into the air or super jump up by charging for a few seconds. And lastly, you can stomp enemies and structures into the ground. Plus, by breaking walls and trees when you stomp on them, it actually counts as harvested material. So it basically farms for you in the brute, and you'll get those materials when you jump out of it. To go into the gunner mode, all you need to do is change seats. Then you'll be able to use the 2 weapons it has, a shotgun and a missile launcher. The shotgun has a clip size of 10, does up to 50 damage, and has a headshot multiplier of 1.5. So really nothing too bad. The missile launcher, however, fires up to 10 missiles at once after holding down the fire button. In the patch notes, Epic doesn't really specify how much damage each missile does, and I think they do that on purpose. I say that because the brute, and specifically its missile launcher, is one of the most overpowered things I've ever seen in Fortnite. The missiles can easily 200 to 0 you from more than 100 meters away. What makes matters worse is that you're not able to block the missiles even on 0 ping. It shoots so many missiles and so fast that it will go through your turbo build and kill you without any chance for you to stop it. That's why my first tip to win in the new season is to abuse the brute as much as possible. I am confident that they'll be nerfed at some point, but for now, they're insanely broken, and for some reason, they're in Arena too. I kid you not, as of right now, these things are in Fortnite's supposed competitive game mode. For solos, since you're only one person, you're not able to move and shoot at the same time when you're in the brute. You could still use the missiles to demolish people turtling and to third-party fights, but it's nowhere near as ridiculously overpowered as it is in duos and trios. With a competent driver and gunner, this thing will destroy absolutely anyone. It can jump up and boost forward like 50 meters with ease, so you'll never be able to run away from it. It can fire the missiles and shotgun at the same time while moving as well, and if it gets really close to someone, it can just Goomba stomp them into oblivion. Fear not though, for there are a few ways to counter the brutes. First thing you could do is just shoot it and destroy it by taking off all of its HP. When I was playing, this really was not that hard as long as you were far away and could stay mobile. The next thing you can do is destroy the little shield on top where the driver is, and that will actually do damage to them. If the person is smart, they'll activate its overdrive shield, which uses 200 materials to grant an extra shield, and in that case, you're screwed, but it can still work if you laser them quickly. Apparently, you can also trap kill the brute like Nick A30 does here, but I would never recommend getting that close unless you're willing to take one for the team. The 2 most effective counters are to self-destruct the brute, which you can do by just hopping in it and pressing the self-destruct button. This works really well in solos if you can get into the brute off spawn, and you might even kill the other person inside of it if they don't get out in time. And then the other way is to boogie bomb it. This will force whoever's inside to come out because they'll be boogie bombed, and then you'll get a free shot and chance to kill them. Or you can go for the crazy play and hop in it to self-destruct the brute. To sum it up, these things are arguably more broken than the Infinity Blade back from Season 7. If you have the opportunity to get in one, do it, especially if you're playing duos, trios, or squads. If you can't, then do your best to stay out of their sight so you don't get missile barraged to death. They're really not as scary as you'd think in solos because they're not able to move and shoot at the same time, so don't be afraid to try out one of my countering methods. But if you're in a game mode where there's 2 people controlling one brute, you might as well leave the game. The next big change you'll notice was to the map. Dusty Depot is back, and guess what? It's still really bad. They did not make any big changes to how much loot or chests are there, so you're gonna get crap loot even if you're the only person who lands there. They also did bring back factories, which was my favorite spot back in season 2 and 3. Factories is a pretty good solo spot if there are only 1 or 2 other people who land there. For the first week or 2 of Season X, there's going to be a ton of people landing there and at Dusty because they're new and nostalgic. My recommendation is to avoid those places for the time being. There's just not enough loot for you and the 8 other people who are going to land there. Out of all the new spots, I would definitely recommend landing on the new Meteor. Usually 1 or 2 other people will land there, so as long as you can get a good drop, you can kill whoever else is there. Then you can just third party people at Dusty and factories and then rotate over, which makes it a pretty decent solo spot overall, especially once people stop dropping there since it's just been added. The last map change currently are the rift zones like the one at Loot Lake. It's basically an anti-gravity zone that you're able to build and move around in. The big sphere at the center has actually turned into a rift, which is helpful for rotations. I guess what's supposed to happen over time is each rift zone will get bigger and start bringing back old POIs. I found this picture on Reddit that shows the beginning of 4 old spots coming back. Top left is a tree growing out of a building in Paradise, which is where Moisty Mire used to be and we'll come back to. Top right is a toilet coming out of part of the castle at Polar Peak, which is where Flush Factory used to be. Bottom right is a tiki just outside of Frozen Greasy Grove, which means not only could Greasy Grove be coming back, but hopefully the tikis with a bunch of rifts around them might be coming back as well. Lastly, in the bottom left is a piece of Sunny Steps, which absolutely nobody likes. Coming out of it is a drive-in sign hinting at the return of risky reels. Other than Paradise and Moisty, all of the potential POIs are a lot better than the current ones, so I'd be extremely happy if that's what we end up seeing as the season progresses. For now though, we're stuck with Dusty and old factories, which you'll want to stay away from for easy wins. The third change Epic made was vaulting a ton of weapons and vehicles. To be more specific, Epic vaulted the Baller, the Quad Crasher, the Flintlock Pistol, Shadow Bombs, the Tactical Assault Rifle, mounted turrets, airstrikes, and the glider redeploy item. Nothing was unvaulted or added to the game, so Epic basically removed everything with mobility. To add on to this, they also removed the big slipstream system around the map and the slipstream stations. The only remaining slipstreams are the small ones that go around Neo Tilted and Mega Mall, but I think those will go away as the season progresses. Gameplay wise, these changes make rotations really tough. Landing on the edge of the map at places like Snobby or Haunted is really hard now. You have no rotation other than the drift boards, which don't really spawn in many places. This means you're going to have to rotate early because you're going to be forced to move on foot. We're basically back to season 2 and 3 where you ran around all game and it took 5 minutes just to get the circle. The good part is this means you'll be less likely to get third partied because people can't take a slipstream or rift to jump onto you. On the other hand, it means everyone is going to be landing at the center of the map at places like Salty, Dusty, Mega Mall, and Tilted. Even in Arena, which is what I've been playing, you'll have 20 people left alive at most after first circle. As long as you're constantly checking for zone and rotating early, you should be fine no matter where you land. If you really want to win though, land at Junk Junction or Happy Hamlet or anywhere that's not near the center of the map. Nobody will land with you, so your loot will be stacked, and you shouldn't have a problem surviving the early game. You will have a problem getting to zone though, so you're gonna have to rotate early. Do not be greedy and try to loot the entire POI you're at. You most likely will not be able to loot the entire thing and will have to start running to zone. When I landed Snobby, I looted one house, got into a fight, and then had to run straight to zone after the fight because of how far away I was and how little mobility I had. So again, keep an eye on zone and rotate early because rotation items are non-existent in Season X. To finish off the video, I'll talk about the current meta for loadouts and overall gameplay. If I'm gonna be honest, not much has changed. Box fighting is still the meta and pretty much everyone you fight will box up and turtle. The combat is still overpowered and is still the strongest shotgun. The pump is a close second and then the legendary tack is after that, but I'd take a pump or combat over it any day of the week. Overall, this new season is weird. Not much has changed to the map as of yet. Epic nerfed the hell out of rotational items, so we're back to running around all game. And for some odd reason, they added overpowered mechs with missiles. This will be the easiest time all season to get a win, so take my advice, and hopefully you can get that sweet victory royale. So if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and to turn on post notifications. Thank you to everyone using code Jarian. Let me know if you used my code for the battle pass so I can shout you out. Otherwise, that's it from me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.